Now in our 6th year, this is GabNet, the Great American Broadcast Network. Talk like you've never heard it before.
It's the Ramble. I'm at big red letters there that says Alex, and we'll be here until midnight tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, we always love to talk to this guy. You know why? Because we love to talk to this guy. Hi, Larry Bubbles Brown. How are you?
Good, and you love to talk to me because I make people realize their life's not as bad.
Yeah. How's your life going, Larry Bubbles Brown?
I'm bored senseless. This lockdown is not fun.
It's gotten real bad out there in California.
Yeah, I guess the numbers went crazy again, so they're locked. You can't. You can go outside, but you can't. Retail stores have opened up again, so you can go in those.
Well, wait, I don't get it. They have a real bad problem out there, and yet they reopen the retail stores. Now, how stupid is that?
Well, I guess if you keep their distance, that shouldn't be a problem. They still don't have outdoor dining, which is much safer than indoor shopping. So.
Well, you know what they do here? The indoor dining, okay, has been banned at this point because we had the numbers go up again. So they banned that. But outdoor dining is okay. The temperature today is, let me see here, 45 degrees right now. You want to sit outside and eat? No. No. So what they build are these outdoor dining units that are covered. All right?
So you're back inside.
So you're back inside, basically, and that makes no sense whatsoever. So I don't get it. You know, we're all going to die. I think when you coined that phrase,
I don't think I coined it,
but you certainly made it part of your act.
Yeah.
We're all going to die. That was one of your catchphrases, that, and are you open? I've got money.
I've got cash.
Yeah, I've got cash, yeah. That was your going over to Oakland and going.
I'll tell you how bad it is in L.A. They had so many deaths, they had to ease the smog rules so they could cremate so many bodies. Seriously.
Is that really true?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Oh, geez, almighty! The
morgues were full, so they had to get refrigerated trucks to hold bodies.
Well, I'm determined that this is the end of the world. I really have. I think that really they're not going to solve the problem. Okay, it's just going to keep mutating and mutating and mutating and mutating until, we're all fighting for food in the streets and, it turns into this apocalyptic vision of the world. And thank God I've only got a few years left, so I won't have to be around to see all of it if this doesn't kill me. Okay?
Well, you're right, though. I think this thing could mutate, which then could make the vaccine irrelevant.
Yeah, which I got the other day, by the way.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Wow.
I got it. Yeah.
Any reaction?
Just the arm hurts a little, but I get that when I get a regular flu shot, or a tetanus shot.
You're safe.
Well, I'm not safe. I'm about 50% safe. I got to get the booster, and they're supposed to give it in 4 weeks, but the closest appointment they had was 5 weeks. And then we had to wait out. Here's the best part: we had to wait out in line for 2 hours, and they send you this letter that is just absolutely admonishing you: do not get here early. Get here 5 minutes before your appointment, because we won't let anybody in before 5 minutes. So we get there 5 minutes beforehand, and there's a line, and it takes us 2 hours to get inside and get the
Oh,
shot.
my God, Jesus.
So what's with admonishing us? Absolutely do not get here earlier than 5 minutes. I'd say get here 2 hours ahead of time. I mean, it's just ridiculous. And then when you got inside, they say, answer these questions, and then you will get a QR code, and you take the QR code with you to the inoculation place, and I guess they do something with the QR code. Well, I bring my QR code, and I also bring my ID number, okay, for the appointment. And did they ever check that QR code? No. Never. Not for 1 second. They didn't say, I said, do you need the QR code? Oh, we don't have anything here that can read it. What?
Is there anything in this country do anything right anymore?
Well, California, I've been talking to people who've been getting the shot out in California, okay? And they talk about rather small lines, that it's pretty fast and efficient, and that it's really been efficient. The stories I hear is much better than the way it's going on in New York, which is like, what they do is they go, we've run out of vaccine. Okay, well, what do you do when you run out of vaccine? Okay, I guess you close all the places you've got where you're doing the vaccine for the time being, right? Okay?
Yeah.
But no, they run out of vaccine and they open up more places. What? Why are you? They said, we have a super place. We're going to do it out at the Met Stadium, okay? And we can take hundreds of thousands of people a day out there. Well, do you have hundreds of thousands of doses of the vaccine? Well, no, we ran out. Well, then why are you opening this thing? Okay? Quite frankly, I think the preference should be, like ours was a block and a half away. And most people can go to some place that is close to them. It's either in a school or, some kind of community center.
That's the way it should be, yeah.
Yeah. And forget about these places like Met Stadium. You don't need that, right?
Yeah, let's get a big crowd together.
Yeah, let's get a super spreading crowd. Right, exactly.
God.
Exactly. So, I mean, it's insane. It is just
we're third world. It's over.
We're talking about third world. No question about it. And I would love to be happy about all of this, but I mean, and on top of that, you got to remember that the people who have preference, okay, are 65 and over. So these would be older people. Some of them get up to 80 and 90. All right, okay. Now you've got them waiting out in the cold for 2 hours, standing. Right? There's nobody saying, hey, is there somebody in a wheelchair? Come on ahead. No, because if that was the case, I'd go out and rent a wheelchair. Okay? They don't do any of that. So these people are out there waiting for 2 hours, and the woman came by, and I said, how long is it going to be? And she says, oh, I don't know, this line's about 2 hours from the end of it. I went, oh, I said, that's good. I said, so what you're saying is we're going to get pneumonia before we get COVID. So she didn't like that too much.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then she walked by talking to somebody who was asking about the line. She says, well, we have a slight problem here. And I looked at her and I went, slight problem? She did not react to me. And then it was so bad that a TV truck shows up and the guy takes pictures, right, of us all standing in line. And last night I'm watching the CBS Evening News, and our line was on it. It was
good.
Yeah. So that's how bad it's getting. And in California, I'm telling you, I talk to people who go get it, and they just walk right in. It's no problem. So you guys have actually got it together better than we do.
But it's hard to believe.
I got my little temperature gun. Let me see if my temperature has gone up at all. They say the second shot, it's not that pleasant, that you do have after effects. Let me see here. There we go. 98. Yeah, it's a little higher than it normally is. 97.9. So I mean, it goes it goes up and down is what it does, and I'm feeling a little off today, but otherwise, it seems to be okay. But are you going to get your shot? How old are you now?
68. So I'll be first. I'll be among the first, I guess.
Well, no, you should start looking into getting it.
I'm just a little. They came up with this thing so fast. I'm a little queasy about it. So.
Well, they didn't come up with it fast. They invented this particular thing. Okay, this method about 18 years ago. So it's not like it's quick. What it is it's RDMA, or there's some name for it. It's not a vaccine. That's why I think they're making a big mistake in scaring people off. They go vaccine. Well, what do you know is a vaccine? Okay.
Polio shot.
Yeah, but I mean, what do they do? What is the process? What is it in the vaccine?
They put a weakened or dead virus into you.
Yeah, that's not the case here. There is no dead virus.
Yeah, it changes it. What does it change? Your RNA or
what
something?
It does? Yeah, it does something about telling your body, hey, this is what the COVID looks like. Now go take care of it. And so it's literally teaching your body to fight it. Okay, and it's a code that says, okay, there's that little spiky devil. Okay, go get him, neutralize him, and that's what it really is. It's not like they give you a little bit of it and then you get antibodies and the antibodies go out and fight it. Okay, so you're not getting anything remotely the same as the as the disease. What you're getting, the reason why supposedly the second shot you really get to feel like crap, is because what it's doing is it's training your body to fight this thing. So they say the first one you're going to not feel so well. Today I'm feeling a little off, but yesterday I was feeling fine, and that was a day after I got it. So, but my arm is still hurting a little bit, and I'm sure it's down in my body now going, okay, here we go. We're getting your body ready to take care of this. So, I don't know.
Well, I read that this shot they've come up with they think it could help beat muscular sclerosis and other diseases, too, with different forms of it. So that would be interesting.
Yeah. Oh, somebody's calling me. Who's calling me? Spam risk. Okay, well, I decline that. I get these spam calls all the time. What happened to that thing I signed up for no spam calls?
Yeah.
Do you remember that thing they had?
The no-call list.
No-call list. Phone up for the no-call list. And what the no-call list is, it gave them a list of people to call. It was terrible.
It's all done robotically now, so they're trying to stop it again. It's totally out of control.
Do you know what I hate? What I hate is when you get one of these calls and then you go, hello, and there's nothing on the other end of the line.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing. Zero. Zilcho. Nobody saying, hey, your car insurance is running out. I get those all the time. And I go, my God, my car insurance is running out. I better do something about this. And I suddenly remember I don't own a car.
Do you get the one where we've noticed unusual activity on your Social Security account?
Yeah.
That's a big one.
But, you and I don't fall for that, right?
No, I guess
right.
Some people must.
But believe me, I'm getting older. I'm starting to forget stuff, and I'm starting to dodder a little bit. And it's easy for me to do it, but, you get an older person who doesn't know what's going on. They get a call going, we're about to cancel your credit card. Please put in this information. And they go, oh, my God, I don't want my credit card canceled. And they do something about it. You can't blame them. It's not they're stupid or anything like that. But why don't we do anything about that? This is preying on people.
Well, again, this country can't get anything done.
They could. Yeah. Well, we'll see how much they can get done and not get done now that we have a new administration in power. The other one couldn't get anything done because the guy in charge of the country didn't really want to go to work, and this guy does. In fact, it'll probably kill him, in which case Kamala will be president of the United States. But we certainly got a one-stop shopping with Kamala Harris, didn't we?
Yeah.
She's black, she's Indian, she's this, she's that,
She's got every one covered.
Yes. Hey, I just looked. We've run out of time.
Time flies when you're talking about vaccines.
When you're talking to Larry Bubbles Brown.
Yeah.
Yeah. Talk to you next week, Larry.
You got it.
Okay, bye.
Now in our 6th year, this is GabNet, the Great American Broadcast Network. Talk like you've never heard it before.
And cue announcer. Hello, everybody. How are you? Here we are again tonight. How are you? I'm doing another show, our last one of the week. Maybe our last one ever. I don't know. I'm getting it. I'll tell you what's been happening lately, and I don't understand it. Last night we had a very small amount of people call. Good quality show, good quality callers. I'm not complaining. I don't want them to think that their calls weren't appreciated, but a low call volume, about 4 people. That was it. Okay? And then I go over and I see, well, how many people are going to watch this in a given day? And I'm hitting all-time lows on the number of people that are watching the show. Now, maybe it's because the election's over with, the inauguration took place, and people are just tired of talking about the kind of stuff that this show normally talks about. But, we keep going with anything that people want to talk about. And it could be that there's no politics to talk about at this point. Who knows, But anyway. So I begin to wonder if I should be doing this at least 4 nights a week, maybe 1 night a week, and do the Monday show, which I really have come to love. And if you haven't heard it, it's in the on-demand thing. You should go take a look at it. It's also on our Facebook page. It's also on YouTube. And it's just called Alex Bennett's Pop-Up. And it's a really good show, and it's got great people calling it and the nature of it. I mean, it's because it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon here. Everybody's just a little bit more mellow. And at night they get cranky. Could that be it? I don't know. But anyway, I've been very happy with that show. But I haven't been happy with what's been happening with this show. I mean, why am I doing this when I only get a handful of people? Now, some nights I was getting... I'll tell you something. I'll give you a good example. We get maybe 5 times the amount of people who check in on the pop-up show than check in on our nightly shows. Okay? So then I begin to wonder, well, why do it? And the other part of me goes, well, but there are a lot of people that call it and they enjoy doing it. And so that's why I continue to do it. But, I'm beginning to wonder, do I need to do this? If I did it 1 day a week, maybe everybody would want to call then, and more people would want to see it. And it would be up there for a week, so it would have a lot of time for people to catch up with it and watch it. And why should I do 4 nights a week? I start out by doing 5 nights a week. And part of the reason why I did 5 nights a week was primarily because I was used to doing 5 days a week of shows. I'm used to that as a radio guy, okay? And, so it was, that was my way, the reason why I did it 5 nights a week. Then I went down to 4, because 5 was kind of getting exhausting as I got older and so on. And also I figured, maybe more people will be interested if I do it 4 nights a week. So then I went to 4 nights a week. And that's where it's been ever since. And I'm just wondering if I should go down to 1 day a week, for the nighttime show. And I'm considering it. Maybe I'll do it on a Friday, and Jack can do this slot Monday through Thursday. something like that, if he wants to. But anyway, I haven't figured it out yet, and I'm just very depressed. Maybe the numbers will change, and all of a sudden more people will be viewing it, and so on. But it's just amazing that in the last, I don't know, it's about 3 weeks, it's been really low. There was a time, I think just prior to the election, where it was really, I was getting some pretty high numbers, and I think that's because people like to hear all about this. But I think they're exhausted. I think they're just worn out. But anyway, let's go to what few people we have again tonight waiting to talk to us. Let me see here. Here we go. Here's the Zoom panel, and they're joining us. There we go. Hello, everyone. How are you this evening?
Good.
Good. And here comes Charlie Wallace, too. So it's really the same crowd we had last night. The stalwarts. And again, Robert isn't here. I don't know what happened to Robert. I'm going to have to send him off a note and say, we've missed you. Where have you been, dear friend? Anyway.
Sergeant of Arms.
Sergeant of Arms, yeah. I'm going to tell him that since he has not been calling and he's Sergeant of Arms, it's been absolute anarchy around here. And people figure they can say anything they want to. Yeah.
Maybe it's put too much pressure on them.
That could be too, but anyway.
So I think you ought to continue this. This is given me a new life to meet some new people.
Yeah, but what new people? You're meeting the same 3 other people every night.
Well, that's only been tonight and last night. I mean,
Yeah, but I don't know. I'm going to have to consider what to do with this. I mean, I do it. The one thing that prevents me from doing it less is because you guys seem to really enjoy it. You look forward to it, and you look forward to being part of it. So
absolutely,
here comes Josh Wheeler. Okay, he joins us usually on Friday nights, but I wanted to say something to Alan. Alan, last night you argued with me about the amount of time between getting the one shot and getting the next shot. Well, did you see the CDC today came out with a new guidance?
No.
Yeah, for either shot, up to you can do it at 6 weeks.
Oh, that's great.
6 weeks.
Yeah, and they're probably saying 6 weeks because they know some people are going to fudge and it's going to be 7 and 8. Okay, so they said 6 weeks and it's still fine. So I'm under 6 weeks for my next
You're good.
shot. Yeah.
So.
Also, wait a minute. One other thing, and this will be of interest to Brian if he didn't read it. They also said you can mix shots.
What?
In an emergency. They don't suggest you do it, but in an emergency, you can mix the Pfizer with the Moderna.
Ooh.
So you can do not in the same shot, but that you can do this first shot could be your Moderna, and your second shot could be your Pfizer.
One on the left, one on the right.
Yeah, right, exactly.
So this is all from the CDC?
Yep.
They've done such a good job.
They've done a great job, haven't they?
Yeah, I don't trust anything they say.
And in England, it's 12 weeks. Okay.
The CDC needs to recreate themselves.
Yeah, but
they've done such a horrible job this past year.
Yeah,
that's because of Trump.
Yeah.
Because of whatever. I mean, the CDC was created for just this reason, for a huge pandemic, and they drop the ball every couple weeks.
Well, give them
that's because Trump made them.
Okay. Have you seen the interviews lately with Fauci?
Yes.
Yes.
Have you seen what he's to begin with? I've never seen him look as refreshed and happy.
Yep.
He always
looked 10 years younger.
Yes.
For the entire
I
Trump
told him to call in on the show.
Yeah, for the entire Trump administration, he looked so dour and so depressed. And now he's happy.
I mean, wouldn't you be dour and depressed if you had to work for that idiot?
Yeah, but the point is, he seems to be refreshed about the whole thing, and he today was saying that, he finally is telling stories now. He's saying, I think he was talking with Rachel Maddow, and she said, well, you look happy. And he says, well, I should be. My big weight has been lifted off of my shoulders. He said he said he felt he had to, he has felt that he had to be part of the Trump administration because somebody had to be in there to try and keep the guy from acting on his worst impulses. But, he said when he was coming up with stuff like hydrochloroquine or whatever that thing was, he said, I didn't know how to handle that. He said, I didn't want to come out against the president because that was not the good place to position yourself, So he was playing politics to try and, get the best he could out of a president. And, but I think that was to no avail. But anyway, so hello to, let's see, Josh Wheeler's here. Kevin's here. Trucker Steve is here. You haven't gotten your shot yet, have you, Kevin?
No, I applied for it the other day.
Yeah, and when are you supposed to get it?
I don't know. They haven't called me back yet.
Yeah.
But I volunteered to work the mass vaccine site. I volunteered to be one of the volunteers.
Oh, really? Oh, good.
Yeah.
That's very nice of you. Maybe I should do that. Once I get my second shot, maybe I'll offer to do that. Be one of the people who goes up and down the line and says, it's only going to be 3 hours. Don't worry, folks.
Don't worry about it.
The line's moving fast, 3 hours.
And then we get ready to hear some nasty comments like I gave them. I mean, it's not their fault. Although it was their fault. They said we got a late start today. I said,
what does that mean?
I was thinking, what does that mean? Last February? I mean, it was just a late start, and I'm standing in line here. I'm an old person. I can't stand in line like this. I had to go home and go to the bathroom and come back. I had to also put on a warmer jacket. So I didn't. I had a bigger fear of getting pneumonia than getting COVID. Okay, because the weather was a super spreader event.
It'll all get better. Everybody's got to settle down, go with it.
Alex,
It'll get better.
Yeah,
he's working on it.
So the guy that used to head the FDA, Scott Gottlieb, whatever his name is, MD, he's been on a lot. He also sits on the board of Pfizer.
Yeah.
He says today the CDC is wrong, and the CDC will redo their whatever and get it right. But who knows? The CDC tells you one thing and another thing's going on, and I don't trust the CDC as far as I can spit.
I don't trust Scott.
What Fauci said? What Fauci said tonight was something I haven't heard him say before. He said, in the pipeline right now is a vaccine. Okay? In other words, a shot that they give you that has a little bit of the stuff in it that will kill it and blah, 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 blah. He said, if we get that, he said, game over. Right? He said, this is kind of like, I don't know, it's kind of it's like trying to patch a balding tire, I mean, it does the job, but we don't know how much and for how long, and they know so little about it that they get things like, oh, no, now it's 6 weeks. Oh, in England it's 12 weeks. It's I don't think they know much about this, and I don't think Pfizer or Moderna know that much about it. They only know what they found out so far. Am I categorizing this right, Brian? Because you know how this stuff works.
Yeah, like I said last night, it's the new hot thing to help it, but they still don't know so much about it. So
I trust Pfizer over Moderna. This is Moderna's first vaccine ever come to market, and Pfizer has been doing this for years. Yeah,
but from what I understand, there's no difference between the two.
That's what I understand.
And if they say you can have your first shot be Moderna and your second one be Pfizer or the other way around, obviously there's a great similarity between both of them. And most people, everybody I've talked to has gotten Moderna. That seems to be what's being spread around the most. Plus, I would rather have the Moderna than the Pfizer because the Pfizer has to be frozen. It has to be a popsicle before they can give it to you. And because of that, The Moderna doesn't have to be. It just can be refrigerated. So when I go down to the local school here to get my shot, which is much more convenient than going to, say, some hospital to get it, all right, they don't have that refrigeration. They've just got a refrigerator there. And that will store well in those refrigerators. And that's why I trust Moderna more than I trust Pfizer. Because I don't know, where the Pfizer has been and whether anybody's been keeping it cold enough.
Yeah, I guess you don't.
Yeah.
And they could have those frozen in the morning, and then they know with the refrigeration it'll last all day.
I think what they should do is they should take the Pfizer and make it into a popsicle and just have people lick the thing.
So just for information here, I'm on Moderna's website, and storage and handling. I don't know what you call freezing, but it needs to be stored at between minus 25 and minus 15 degrees Celsius, which is between minus 13 and plus 5 degrees Fahrenheit. So water's at 32. So this Moderna's frozen too. Now, what we don't know is how many hospitals have the deep freeze that the Pfizer's got to be like,
well, I think
like minus 100.
From what I understand, most hospitals have those kind of freezers
for both vaccines.
Well, I mean, for the Pfizer, but if I go to my local school, I'm sure they've got the refrigerators that are used for the school.
They put them on wheels. They move them around, dry ice. There's a lot of ways.
Also, the super freezing those other ones take, those super freezers are not as available as just a good. I mean, you could store this probably in your refrigerator in the freezer compartment.
We're trying to get.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I'm buying refrigerators, and we're buying other items like the refrigerators for our new facilities. And our CEOs told us get the stuff now, even though we don't need it. Some factories till the end of the year. It's hard to get refrigerators, hard to get all these things right now.
And the one element we don't know about any of this stuff is how long it's going to be effective for. It could be effective for 3 months and that's it. We don't know, or it could be effective for the rest of your life. We just don't know.
We do know that it's at least effective for 3 months because Moderna started injecting people with the vaccine in spring of last year. Yeah. And those people are still showing antibodies. So at least from Moderna, we know that it's probably close to...
I don't think it's antibodies that this produces. This doesn't produce antibodies. This produces a information that it gives your system on how to battle the coronavirus. It's not a thing where antibodies are created. That's why Fauci was so happy to announce that they have in the pipeline actual vaccines. In the traditional sense. You can't call this really. Am I right, Brian?
Right. That's the M. That's the M part of the mRNA. That's the M was the memory. So it gives your cells a memory of what the coronavirus is going to look like when it comes. If it comes to attack them.
Here's a photograph of the coronavirus. Kill on sight, shoot on sight. Yeah.
So we may find out that the mRNAs are better than our old vaccines.
Could well be.
Most of our old vaccines are made up a year in advance, like say the flu vaccine. It's about 40% effective on an average year. They got to keep changing it. They've got to grow it in eggs and so on and so forth. With these mRNA vaccines, if all of a sudden the virus changes and the vaccine doesn't cover it as well, 5 days, 2 weeks, they can change the mRNA vaccine, and now you have protection. Whereas the vaccines that you're talking about, where like a flu vaccine, a true vaccine, as you call it, I don't know what you call it, but anyhow,
is it mRNA, Brian?
mRNA is what we're using now.
mRNA. Okay.
Yeah, it's the memory RNA.
Yeah.
Right. And Dr. Fauci says they can change that within a week or two to if the virus changes. With the vaccine as you're talking about,
You have to then redevelop
which is like the Johnson & Johnson vaccine.
Yeah.
Which I think is what you're talking about, Alex. And I think that's about ready to get that I have stock in Johnson & Johnson, and they're going to ask for FDA approval soon.
But it's supposedly not going to be as effective.
Well, yeah, I haven't heard on that.
It's
I
in
think
the
that's
80s
true.
or something like that.
But that's better than nothing.
I want to say hello to Mark Thorner, who hasn't joined us in a while. Hello, Mark.
Hello, Alex. How you been?
Yeah, by the way, your camera looks spectacular. Did you get a new camera since we talked to you in the last, a couple of years ago?
It's a new computer.
It's a new computer, yeah, because the cameras they're putting in these computers now look gorgeous. And the rendition that Zoom does is spectacular. So, what can I say? How are you doing, Mark?
All things considered, not bad, Alex.
Mark lives in Florida.
Yeah.
Need I say more? And by the way, Charlie lives in Texas. The two of you should be wearing masks on this program. I'm sorry. I just feel that even though it's Zoom, I could catch something from you guys. Now, how is it in your neck of the woods, Mark?
Surprisingly, all things considered, it's still that level of nuttiness that I've always bitched about, but it's not as bad as it could have been, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, but still, Florida has a very high rate of infection.
Yeah, I understand that, but for some reason, the area that I live in, we're not that bad. Now, it's like everything else down here in Florida. Forget about getting any kind of vaccine because the numbers are so low and the distribution infrastructure, put it bluntly, sucks.
Yeah.
What population? What percentage population are over 65 in that area?
In where I live in Collier County, a very high percentage.
Now you're where again? What's
on the list?
What's the city basically there?
It's Fort Myers is the nearest big city.
Yeah,
and
airport there.
Yeah. And you got a lot of old people down there, so they got to be worried about it. Got to be a lot of deaths as a result of old people, But
got a new neighbor with orange hair.
Yeah.
not my part of Florida, pal. Thank God.
No. Who wants to move there, right?
Well, you're just happy today, aren't you, Alex?
But no, you know what I'm unhappy about? I thought I would be rid of Trump. But I turn on MSNBC, and every 5 minutes they got a fucking picture of Donald Trump. Anytime they say, and Donald Trump did this, and then they have to show a picture of him.
That's why I don't watch MSNBC.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they're all doing it. And I hear over at Fox, they're already saying that the Biden administration is the worst ever.
Oh, yeah.
2 days, yeah.
I got to admit it, that as a raging lefty, I at least gave Trump a week, but they're not even giving him any time at all, Have you been watching any of the news coverage, Josh, or do you stay away from that?
No, I've seen pretty fair amount. I didn't watch very much news tonight.
Yeah.
Busy day, but I've seen fair amount since then. I mean, it's what you would expect from the usual people. I mean, Kevin McCarthy and the Rand Paul and the group of them will stand up there, make sure they attend the inauguration because power is passed from one person to the other, but they always want to swim with the big fish as close as they can. So they show up and do their little thing so they can look important. And then 15 minutes later, they're right back to, where they were, which is why
But you go over to
Yeah.
MSNBC and they're doing a major happy dance, and then you go over to Fox and the world is coming to an end.
Well, it's because both of them are equally stupid. They're just equally stupid on different
Yeah,
sides of the
yeah,
argument.
Yeah.
yeah.
You know, I mean, so now I got to sit around and hear about how fucking Democrats and Chuck Schumer are working through negotiations for how they're going to share power in the Senate and all that. I mean, it's like,
Yeah, I was
why don't you
watching.
come over here and I'll draw you a big picture? I mean,
I
this
don't-
is all the power that we're going to have.
Well, wait a minute.
And
Hold
now,
on a second.
Let me illustrate for you all the power that you're going to have.
No,
Yeah, they're stepping on
doesn't
their
Chuck
dicks
Schumer, can
Fuck
Chuck
them.
Schumer just say, we got 50 votes, you got 50 votes, but then we have a Democratic head of the
Nope.
Senate, and so
Nope.
therefore, what?
Nope.
And so
Working
therefore,
that
we've
way.
got 51 votes,
I mean,
so we get anything we want.
I
You
don't
want
want to hear about how last time
It
in
ain't working that way
2000,
right now.
Yeah.
when we had this same split, we did this and we shared power and there was equal commitment.
No,
Look, that was
no,
2000.
no
You guys
sharing
have fucking
power.
changed.
Look, you didn't share power.
man.
You didn't share power with us when you had the
We used to
majority.
do a lot of shit. Okay.
Yep.
I mean, we used to fucking not fucking put justices on the Supreme Court, you know, fucking 35 days from an election or whatever. But you guys fucking did that. So you're going to have to eat it. I mean,
Yeah,
if Chuck Schumer does anything in the morning other than get up and sit down for 10 or 15 minutes and think, how can I possibly make Mitch McConnell want to stick a fucking gun in his mouth today? He's completely wasted the first 20 minutes of his day. I mean, and look, I'm a pragmatic person, and I will go along with certain Republican ideas and certain things that they want, and I'm very fair, and I have criticized my own party in quotes there, if you want, as much as I felt like I needed to, how like I am now, and all that. But look, I mean, they fucking made this decision, you know, and now they have to live with it. When we lost an election, they got their fucking judges and they got their fucking tax cut and all that. So I'm sorry, Holmes, but you can eat a fat dick for a while because we're gonna get some shit we want now too.
Yeah, but I don't know why. I
that's
don't
the
know
way
why.
it is.
I don't know why they've got this idea. They've got to sit there and discuss what a tie vote is or what a vote is in the Senate. No, we've got the votes to make it any way we want to, and we're going to do it that way. Because you did it your way, you set up the rules of the game, and we're going to play by those rules. We won. We got the most people. Blow me. Right?
I mean, right,
Yeah,
but I mean, that's what I've
Schumer's
said
playing
for
games.
many years on here. This is what fucking Democrats do. This is
That's
why I
right.
never get real excited when Democrats fucking have a lot of power. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm appreciative of the fact that it will be better than it would be when Republicans have power. I mean, so I'm in tune with that. All right. But I don't get all excited about it or anything. And this is why, because I basically just look at it and say, well, at least nothing will get worse. They won't fuck anything up, you know? I mean, but I don't really look at them as people who will advance much of an agenda or fix things. I mean, you know, I mean, that's why I supported Joe Biden, because he will at least probably do a few things that he can get, sort of like Obama was able to accomplish. And then that'll be that. And then Republicans will probably come back into power and, you know, muck things up again for a while. I mean, that's the cycle we're in the last part of, you know, 20 years or so, at least, you know, most of my life. So, I mean, that's probably where it'll go.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't understand. I mean, you know, like, you know, we'll have even numbers on committees. I mean, like, fuck that. Like I said, we'll draw Mitch a picture if that's what he wants.
Right.
I mean, we'll circle all the fucking power we're gonna have, and then we'll come over here and show you how much. You're gonna have fucking none. You're gonna have fucking zero, none whatsoever. I mean, you're just not. I mean, but they're not gonna fucking do it. I mean, this is why I've told you guys on off air for weeks. If they fucking run the same leadership out there as they did the last couple times with Schumer and Pelosi, you're going to get the same shit you got the last couple times.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean,
Yep.
you know, did I think that the speaker needed to be AOC? No, fucking of course not. You know that's not what I was for. I was for someone else from that Biden camp that maybe could have got some shit done. But it's not going to happen. And Republicans are terribly difficult, hard to work with, as it is.
Mm-hmm.
And when you match them up with, you know, the people that lead the Democratic Party, you're going to get a clusterfuck, which is exactly what you're going to get. But I will admit that a clusterfuck of old is better than what we lived through the last 4 years.
Yeah.
And is likely not to catch the whole nation on fire again. So, you know, I'll sleep better. But if you got fucking drugs, my fucking advice would be to use them.
Yeah. By the way, anybody here? How many people here have had the vaccine so far? You and me. Have you had any after effects?
No.
I was a little tired today, and a little achy, and what is it? And the arm still hurts.
But those are side effects that are normal.
Yeah, but I wondered if have you had those side effects? No.
I had a sore arm the first day, and the second day I was a little tired.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm a little tired anyhow.
Yeah, but you know what it's getting?
I don't know if it was the vaccine or me.
I was there waiting for the moment when they opened it up for 60. What is it? 75 and over. And we immediately got online, and we immediately made an appointment, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then all of a sudden, I'm hearing Phil got his, heroin addicts are getting theirs, you know, and I'm sitting around waiting for my day to come up. And I'm going...
Sorry, Alan's the bearer of bad news on Monday. Alan was getting his, and on Tuesday, I told everybody, including you, and I told you Phil was getting his. So
yeah, Phil got his before I got mine.
No, you guys both got it on Wednesday.
Oh, really? What did you say? Oh, yeah. How about let's look at Charlie? You're still waiting, right?
Yeah, I'm supposed to get it tomorrow, finally. But you know, it depends on the state.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be that way.
California isn't. California is not a mess compared to the clusterfuck here in New York.
Well, I'll buy that. Okay.
I mean,
New York's great compared to Texas.
Oh, I don't know how it's going there, but you know, all of a sudden I hear about other states where anybody can get it. How about down where you are? Have you had it yet, Mark?
No, the whole infrastructure is fucked.
Yeah.
It's so bad, Alex, that I'm just giving up. And you know, if I'm lucky by summertime, if I get my first shot.
Because they're giving it down there, they're giving it to people who are like, 14, and not giving it to you.
Tourists are getting it before me.
Well, they now have passed a thing in Florida saying you have to be a Florida resident to get a Florida shot.
You have to
Maybe all those dead people who voted. Dead people who voted are probably getting shots too.
So in California today, they announced that they're going to start inoculating police officers. Well, I thought maybe they were all inoculated before I got my shot. That was a news.
Look, if you tell me that you want to do all the doctors and the caregivers and the seniors in nursing homes the shot first, be my guest. I think that's appropriate. But then your next in your pecking order should be transit workers, people who work with the public on a day-to-day basis, like in grocery stores, things of an essential nature. And then the people 75 and over, and then you go to 65 and over. You wait till you get the 75 and overs done. Because here's what happens. We don't have enough. We ran out today. In the state of New York, we ran out of the vaccine. Okay, I understand that. So why did you open up Met Stadium for massive inoculations if you don't have the stuff? Why are you doing that? Keep the small little things open like the schools where it's convenient to everybody, and you're not going to have this huge rush into there. And then, the governor comes on and says, we're opening up another 200 sites for inoculations. Do you have any vaccine? No. Well, then why are you doing it, you moron?
So in California, Alex, as of yesterday, they had over 300,000 vaccines in the state, and they've inoculated
300,000.
300,000. Huh?
300,000.
Yeah, 300,000. I don't know what it said, but they've only inoculated 160,000 people.
Oh, wow. We've inoculated 97% of the people of 97% of the supply has been exhausted already.
And not here. They got a lot of it, and they're not putting it in anybody's arms. So the whole thing's a mess.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping that Biden straightens this out, but I think part of it is the state of California. Probably part of it's the state of New York. This is all kind of new ground for everybody, but still, they had time. They knew the vaccines were coming. But
yeah. Well, I mean,
it's unfortunate.
Now
it's
here
had no plan, plan at all to distribute the vaccine.
Now we have Trucker Steve is out on the road. Steve, are you planning on getting a vaccine, or is it hard for you to have access to it because you're on the road so much?
I'm gonna get a hold of a doctor and see if I can get one, because I've already had a friend who's drive taxi, and he's already had his.
Yeah.
Because he's considered essential because he's a taxi driver. And because I crossed the border, they're probably going to make it a mandatory anyway. So I'm going to have to get it done. So I'm going to find out if I can get it done now.
And by the way, the needle is this long.
It goes up your nose.
Now, have you seen the videos of it? That thing's huge. I'm surprised they don't hit bone.
I don't know. The needle for the Pfizer was like a 1/4 inch.
Really?
Yeah, I saw the needle ahead of time. No big deal. I didn't even feel it.
Yeah. Well, you just had it better. What did you have, Moderna or you have Pfizer?
I had Pfizer. I think for Moderna, and they heard your show.
Yeah.
Somebody on your show said, when that guy gets here, have a big long needle for him.
Yeah. Yeah. You just like to brag about this whole thing. Well, I had the Pfizer. Pfizer's better than Moderna.
I would have taken the Moderna if that's what they
I don't know. I would have taken fucking Kool-Aid if it worked.
Absolutely. Bleach.
Well, who knows? In the end, maybe it does work. I have no idea. But for all you Republicans out there who might want to try it, go ahead and let us know how it works out.
We can ask Phil if he'll be the first.
Yeah.
He'll kill me for that. But
Did you guys hear about what happened? 200 National Guard troops got infected with COVID after the inauguration.
No, not after the inauguration.
I blame that on the Republicans.
No, not after the inauguration.
Because if they didn't start all this stop the steal bullshit,
no,
they wouldn't have been there in the fucking first place.
I don't believe that is correct. I think it was from the Capitol riots.
Right? Yeah, that was.
It was from the Capitol riots that they called.
The inauguration was only 2 days ago.
So the only
I read a story. It was from their sleeping from where they were sleeping in the parking garage or something.
No, you know what happened? They were sleeping. This is so cool. I mean, I joined the National Guard just to do this for a night. They were sleeping in the Capitol. They were sleeping under the dome. Yeah. Can you imagine that, Josh? Wouldn't that be the thrill of a lifetime? To be able to sleep on the floor of the Capitol building? But then certain senators and stuff thought that was all wrong, and they made them sleep in the garage. Well, when everybody found out they were being forced to sleep in the garage, there was a big hue and cry, so they're now back under the rotunda again.
The interesting thing was they were sleeping inside and in the garage under Republican control, but the Republicans now want to say that's Biden's fault.
Oh, I see. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
But it really was that was happening. No, but the actual infections happened because of the riots, which means that was a super spreading event, and hopefully a lot of those assholes will come down with COVID.
Absolutely.
You know.
See the guy on the kid on CNN that turned in his dad?
No.
Oh yeah, he's an 18-year-old kid, and Como interviewed him tonight, and he basically knew his dad. Him and his dad have been going back and forth, I guess, for the last couple months, and his father has been slowly turning into this radical, and said he was going to do something big, and I guess he left for D.C., and he saw him on TV, and his kid wrestled with whether he should turn him in or not, and basically saw him on TV, and he was one of the guys putting the shit through his eyes, get the tear gas out, and saw it was his dad, so he turned his ass into the FBI.
Well,
and Como had an interview with him tonight. He's 18-year-olds in college, and he said, I've had my opinions about it, but he's my dad. I wouldn't want to turn him in, but it was the right thing to do. And Como basically said, we just had this interview with this guy, and I'm going to be watching social media, and you guys come after this kid, I'm going to come after you.
But kiss.
I thought it was pretty brave of the little bastard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I would say
Absolutely.
kiss your tuition goodbye.
Yeah.
That guy probably did. He's from Texas, no less.
Oh,
his dad probably paying his
Probably
tuition.
dead man.
Aren't you proud to live in Texas? You went back there, Charlie. You were where? You were in
I was in Arizona.
Arizona. Yeah.
Well, no better.
Well, at least they were big. They came through.
At least they voted for Biden.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was pretty brave of the kid to go on there, and it was hard for him to go on TV and talk about that shit.
But people are turning in members of their family.
Yeah.
Even if if that member of their family wasn't in Washington.
I saw him. He was right there.
That's right. There's a prize, I hear, reward.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. I don't know. Is there? Maybe,
There are rewards out for some people, yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
There's, I think, 50 grand on some of them.
Well, because there were people that hit people with fire extinguishers and, crushing people.
Legally, they can charge everybody that was inside the Capitol with murder.
The only one here that I haven't talked to since that whole thing happened at the Capitol is Mark. And Mark, when you saw this going down, what was your thought? I mean, you must have watched it.
Okay, so I was at work, and I wasn't really paying much attention to the news that day.
Mm-hmm.
And because I thought, well, here it comes, they're going to count and this is it, and it's like, well, it didn't really cross my mind that there were problems.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I get home, check the news, and I'm like, what the hell? And I was so upset, Alex. And the only time I hate to say this, was as upset was 9/11.
Yeah.
And the problem with 9/11 was I could not leave my apartment because the debris field was blowing down to where I was living in Brooklyn. So I stuck my nose out. I'm like, oh no. So I basically that night went out into the middle of the swamp down here. I went out into the middle of Big Cypress just to clear my head.
Yeah.
I just but the big surprise was when I got home and I dared to look at the news and I saw they continued with the count.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I knew, you know what? I know it's going to sound corny, guys, but justice will prevail.
Well, I think that they could have decided, well, let's not go back tonight. We'll go back tomorrow, and then we'll finish it. No, but they wanted to do it that night to just show nothing's going to stop the process. And
But I'll tell you, Alex, this is why I think there's some, like I said, if you can find humor in a dire situation, the next morning I awake to the funniest internet memes I have ever seen in my life. That took a lot of the sting out of,
yeah.
And if you can reduce something to humor, that's, to me,
Well, that's our best. I'll tell you something. That's our best. What can I call it? Our best quality.
Therapy.
No, our best quality
Okay.
as human beings. That in a time of tragedy, we'll make a joke. Okay, and people go, "Oh, that's such bad taste that you made that joke." And you go, "No, it's the best part of human nature that we can do that. We do that to take the sting out of what happened, And I mean, I often said, look, I remember when the shuttle went up and it blew up within 25, 30 minutes, and this was before the internet was that big. There were jokes running around. The next morning you had a joke. The joke was, you know what caused that, don't you? What? Freebasing. That was the joke that was going around. And we have a tendency to do that. And I said that's why I have no objection to those kind of jokes in bad times. Because
you're saying that, like, when the first shuttle exploded and stuff, like, what does NASA and a walrus have in common? They're both looking for a tight seal.
Okay.
Okay, good enough. I didn't think it was funny either, but it.
No, but
Alan.
Alex, I remember a little over 4 years ago telling, before he went off social media, communicating with Rick Overton, it's like, sharpen up your knife, pal. You're going to have a lot of material.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And
what, did he go off of social media?
Yeah, Facebook. He just got sick of just defending, and I don't blame him.
Oh, I find that anytime I would make a comment or even a joke on my Facebook page, I would get tons of people complaining about it, and then they would start fights with each other. Or I would say something, and somebody else would reply to it, and somebody else would reply to it. By the time you got down to the 50th person, it was a completely different discussion.
And let me ask you, everyone here, we've all visited the Capitol, right?
Mm-hmm. No, I've never been to the Capitol. Oh, no, I've never been to the Capitol. I was to the Rayburn office building. I testified at the Rayburn office building.
Wow.
And that to me is like a real, like, you could tell it's just important. I don't like to use, it's a sacred. It really has that feeling of, oh shit, I'm here. You're in the rotunda there. It's like, it's really amazing.
Well, you've been there, right, Josh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've just been outside and I felt that.
Yeah, me too.
In Hollister?
I think it's meant to have.
I feel other things here.
I think it's meant to have that effect on you. I think that's one of the reasons it was built, is to say this is who we are, and this is where we do it. And I think that's why we were even overly upset at it being attacked, is because it is such a hallowed institution. And I don't believe in that kind of thing about it being hallowed or any kind of religious attribution put to it or anything like that. But it was just something that to us represented maybe a little place of safety where things could be contemplated and the wheels of government turn. And we put it on the money,
Personally, my whole time in that area, which was very, very short, in the whole Washington D.C. area was short and sweet, but the whole time I was there, I was just in awe.
Yeah,
you just had a different feeling when you were there, walking by the Treasury building, going to the wall, going to the monuments. It's a moving place.
Yeah,
knowing what happened there.
Yes, John.
What goes on there?
John. Yeah, when I was there, I was staying in this hotel in Georgetown, which is outside, so further, it's a fancy part of town. There's a college there, and there's a tavern there, a famous tavern. And I had never been in the place. I had never heard of the place before, but we went in there and we're sitting down in this booth, and over to the left of us, there's this plaque right by where we were sitting, and said, "This is where JFK proposed to Jackie Kennedy."
Wow.
I was like, whoa, fuck. There's just so much history wherever you go.
Well,
it's so old,
When I was testifying before a committee, as negative as the circumstances were, I felt a certain majesty in doing it. That at least for all your life you can write a letter to Washington, you get back a form letter or whatever. But very seldom do you have a row of congressmen up on a dais looking at you while you're making your case. And I was really awed by that, and that was at a time where I was just like poo-pooing everything. But man, when that happened, I just, you know what I'm talking about, Josh? What that kind of feeling you could get in that situation?
Yeah, I mean, we visited multiple times. We go to DC fairly regularly. There's a particular hotel that we stay at just outside the city, but right on the metro line. I know how
Is that the one with the 6 on it?
No, but I mean, we know how to use we always just stay right outside so we can park, and then we just use the metro and go all around the city. I've been many times. We have a metro pass in DC, as a matter of fact. So, so I mean, I go as much as I can, and it's one of the places I think that you can go multiple times or as many times as you want. It really doesn't get old, and we visit different things each time. And I mean, I think it's the most beautiful city in America. That's just my preference, and it's really great at night. I don't know if anyone's ever been at night when the Capitol's lit up, the White House is lit up, the Washington Monument is lit up. They light the inside of the Lincoln Memorial. I've been to the Lincoln Memorial at night, late at night, and it's great. I mean, but that's what makes what happened so terrible.
Maybe when this is all over, I'm going to go down to Washington and just do that. I've never been to the Capitol. I've never really been to the reflecting pool.
You never played tourist?
No, never. I've gone down there on one occasion to speak in front of a committee. And another time I went down there was to riot, to demonstrate against the war in Vietnam.
Yeah, I mean, it's, the tours that you take in the Capitol are nice. The way they do it now, obviously not right now with everything, but when it's, back to normal, is very nice. They give you these little headsets you can wear so that the person that's giving your tour can just speak in a regular tone and not have to be, yelling in a crowd and all that. And, it's very informative, very nice.
Well,
Marjorie, charge for that?
Marjorie,
that's
Marjorie, my wife, used to work for the government. She worked for some department down there, and I can't remember which one. I'll have to ask her so I can tell her. But she lived down there for quite a while, so she's seen all of that up close.
Yeah, I mean, if anyone goes, I think the tours that you can take at night really are some of the best. I mean, last time we went, we took one, and we took the metro into Penn Station there or whatever. That's still there, and that's where they're going to start it at. And you walk out the door on the outside, and it looks directly at the Capitol, which is fairly close. So it's pretty big, and you just have this incredibly clear view of the Capitol dome all lit up, and it's great. And they take you across the river that night to the Iwo Jima Memorial, the Marine Corps Memorial.
I wonder with all that went on the 6th, how close you're going to be able to get to the Capitol now.
Well,
whether they're going to keep that open for people to go walk.
I mean, they will. That'll go away, and they'll take the barricades and all that down. I mean, there was always an extra element of security that was there, but I mean, the visitor center will open back up again. I mean, it was too big and too expensive not to. And it's very well done. And, it was nice because even if you're not taking a tour, you could walk to the Capitol and you could walk right up to the steps or to the edge of the building. I mean, you can't go up or anything like that, and there are some officers down there, but you can walk around and touch the marble and take pictures. And
you know what I've been told, that if you can ever get in there, you will gasp at, and that is the Oval Office. Yeah. That many times presidents have used the Oval Office to convince people of something, because they walk into that room and they just go, "It's the Oval Office." And I've always wanted to see the Oval Office. That's always been my big desire.
Yeah. The only time I was there, we were at the Lincoln Memorial, and a friend of mine says, "Wow, I didn't know it was that big," and I said, "And he's not even standing up."
Yeah. But I mean,
it's huge.
I wonder, in my lifetime, which is, who knows how long that is? It could be the next 10 years, or it could be next week.
Hopefully.
Let's say it's the next 10 years. If we're going to get back to any normalcy before I go, you get to feel the same way, right, Mark? You're older.
I think we will. It's just honestly, and I don't want to sound that cynical, but the minute that the vaccines are fully available, in other words, you can go to your doctor's office. Now, that can be summertime or next summer. Mm-hmm. It's going to go away. People are going to forget about it totally until the next disaster happens. And that's the way people are, unfortunately.
Well, who knows what disease is next? That's the problem. But I think the next time we're going to be a little more prepared for it. I think the next time we see the first sign of it, we're going to do something about it.
We hope so.
Depends on if there's a Republican in the president.
Yeah,
that's for
sure.
But
isn't it interesting? I was mentioning this to Marjorie tonight. Isn't it interesting that the country that has handled this the best and has had the least problem is the place where it came from? China is not inundated with COVID. So we should take a page out of whatever they did. When they saw it happen, they just locked everything down in Wuhan. Mm-hmm.
Well, they were shoving people in the trucks, too, and taking them away.
Yeah, but China also uses face recognition on their public streets, and they do lockdowns. I mean, they have no liberties. They do stuff that people here say, "Oh, they're infringing on my rights," and all that stuff. So.
But in this case,
and the other thing that they said is that now that we're back into WHO, that's a big portion of it. If we don't help the other countries get rid of it, it's just going to continue and continue. We need to help the other countries get rid of it as well, without hoarding all the doses. We've taken up, us and some of the other first-rate countries have taken up all the orders for all the doses, and if we don't let the other countries have some, they've got to knock it out too. Otherwise, it's going to continue to mutate and it's going to continue to spread back.
Well, remember that if
we were out of the WHO, we're just taking over.
But you got to remember, they aren't giving this stuff away for free. You got to buy it.
We're talking about $37 billion worth of shit.
Yeah, and so a little country, a small country, might not be able to afford it.
Right.
And if they can't afford it, it's not like AstraZeneca or somebody like that's going to go, "Oh, here, have some on us."
No, but if we're overbought, we can give them some.
Yeah,
and other countries can do the same.
I agree.
Now, what is this Defense Production Act? What will that do for all of this? Anybody know?
It's just going to give the people. It's going to give everybody more. It's going to give more raw materials to manufacturers to give them, give them the stuff to make stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas
remember they were trying to press Alex, if you remember months ago, they were trying to press Trump on to do that, to invoke those powers to get respirators made.
Mm-hmm.
And he just sat on his thumbs like always. Oh, there's nothing going on.
There were some factories that were ready to gear up and had lines. There was one mask factory that had 3 lines ready to go, but they couldn't start up because they didn't have the raw materials, and he wouldn't invoke the Production Act. And they were ready to go. They just needed the materials. And there was a lot of other factories that could have rekeyed their production lines to do that shit.
Yeah.
But he wanted Ford and he wanted all these other big companies under his belt that to do that stuff, and he was controlling who was doing that. And that was part of the problem, that he wanted certain companies to do it so he could, use them later on, is what it seemed like.
Yeah.
And
But
when
there
he
was
did,
other companies that were saying, hey, we're ready. We got 3 lines that are dead right now. We can employ a bunch of people, start up these lines, get us some materials. And no, I'm not going to do that.
then he finally did, and he tried to take credit for everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's still more that could have done it.
He wanted it to be called the Trump vaccine.
Yep.
Instead, I think we should call it the Trump virus.
Yep.
I agree.
I mean,
Trump pandemic.
what makes me just so mad is how many people died in this country. Charlie, you're keeper of the stats. How many dead as of tonight?
413,818 people.
Say that again.
413,818 Americans have died.
Wasn't it just 400,000 a few days ago?
Yeah, 3 days in a row we've been over 4,000 dead. That's 12,000 right there.
My God.
Yeah, 500,000 by the end of the next month.
And none of this had to happen.
No.
None of this had to happen. And why Trump didn't say to himself, like, usually a president goes, oh, a war? We got a war's happening? Great. Because if I do what I'm supposed to do, I'll get reelected. Right? Well, this was a war. He should have known that if he had just handled this properly, he would have gotten my vote if he had handled it properly.
Well, that's what Joe Biden's starting to treat it like.
Yeah, exactly. Oh no, but he's already the worst president of all time, according to Fox.
Whatever.
I mean, look, he's trying. Whether he's going to be successful at it, I can only hope.
It's going to be a real hard job to unfix all Trump's fuck ups.
Well, I kept saying, who the fuck wants this job? Who wants to be handed this mess? Right? He's got.
Well, it sounds to me like he's putting the right people in the right places. So hopefully he's gonna. I think that's one thing that Trump didn't do is he didn't put the right people in. He put his buddies in certain places that didn't know jack their ass from the hole in the ground.
Yeah.
And this guy seems like Joe seems to be putting people that are at least halfway smart and at least have been doing something before.
Yeah.
So at least he's putting the right people in the right place.
Yeah. Well, he hit the ground running.
Yeah,
I mean, from right after the election, he was.
I'm not hearing a lot of complaints from anybody.
He was back at the Oval Office, signing things. And by the way, he doesn't do something Trump did. He signs them and then he moves it over. He doesn't hold it up and show you his signature.
Yeah. Do like one a day. Trump was doing like one a day or one a week also. Milk it all out.
It looks like he was a kid going, look, teacher, I finished my exam.
Yeah, and he doesn't use a big Sharpie marker either.
No. He in fact, he was having to look where to sign a couple of those things. And he reads it before he signs
read the
it.
fucking thing. He reads it.
Yeah.
He read them all.
He'll get a new
pictures.
He could suddenly say, well, what is this in here about everybody gets a free Slurpee? What is that?
Maybe he'll get a news crew in prison, and when he draws his signature on the prison wall, they can take a picture of that.
They can take a picture of it. Yeah. Well, I don't know. Quite frankly, if they would just keep his picture off the television set now, every time I see it, I go, oh no, I'm remembering.
You're watching the wrong
guy.
station, Alex. I've been watching the news and I haven't seen much of him at all. And I've been CNN,
MSNBC. I'm telling you, every time they mention his name, they put his picture up.
Yeah,
I'll tell you, I've seen a lot of them.
I
It's been
watched
pretty nice.
the news a lot less than I did a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, me too.
I have no reason to watch.
It's like I need a break from
Marjorie's still got it on all the time, so that's how come I see it. But I'll tell you something, and I noticed, and I've mentioned this before, and I if you go back and watch it, it's true. Every time he got on an airplane or the helicopter, as he was going up the stairs, he would tap the handle about 3 times. That's obsessive compulsive behavior.
Yep.
Because I have that. I
He
do a
was
certain
signaling
thing. I
cue.
do a certain thing before a plane takes off. I tap my knee 10 times. Right?
He was signaling Q.
But this was compulsive, obsessive compulsive behavior. I mean, the man was not well. Okay.
I've seen Bernie Sanders a lot lately.
Oh, listen.
Yeah.
I gotta
Oh,
say
God.
something. I gotta say something about that. Now I'll go to you, Alan. Will you lay off Bernie Sanders with his mittens and his scarf and his hat? Okay. Will you
Got a
just
bobblehead, too.
Will you just stop it? He's an old man like I am. And that's the way you dress when you're out in a cold day.
Oh,
Yes.
That's not going to
Winter.
stop everybody. Sorry.
You should see Jeff when it's cold. Okay? Right, Jeff? Right? You got the mittens.
Should
you
have had
got
a hat on. He
I
lost
mean,
all his
all
heat
they're
on.
doing is making fun of him because he's an old fart. Yes,
Well,
Alan.
Right here.
I think
Ready
there
to
you,
go.
there you go, Jeff. I
Ready to
think
roll.
I think if you continue to have this 4 nights a week, there ought to be 2 nights a week that Trump's name is not mentioned.
Well, hopefully it
I
won't
agree.
have to be mentioned soon. It won't have to be mentioned.
I think there should be 2 nights a week we don't talk about COVID. It's almost as bad as
Yeah.
Trump.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we will get over, I think, all of this, and we like when I do that 4:00 show in the afternoon on Mondays. Some days we never even get around to talking about any politics at all. It's just nice, simple chat between people. You know?
Lucky you.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, it can be done. You know, we should just have like Soros-free nights. I think Jeff knows what I'm saying, and obviously Charlie
Theme
did
nights.
too. Huh?
Let's talk about your favorite burger place.
Oh
or
no,
something.
I hate theme nights. Oh, that's the
No.
worst thing.
Theme
Oh,
night.
that's the worst thing.
Sorry.
Yeah, I used to years ago when I first started doing talk shows. I would go, and here's our topic of the day, okay, and then people would call in and answer a question quickly, and I'd stop that really fast. That is just the
Okay,
worst kind
forget
of
it.
radio you can do.
Scratch it off the wall.
Here's our topic for tonight. Yes, yes.
Are you
Mr.
going to upload any of the radio shows you said you've been listening to lately?
I can't find them on my computer. It only comes up on my. I'm gonna have to figure out how to find them. If I find them, I'll put them up on the weekends or something. You know.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, because I mean, I was listening to one the other day, and I went, "Gee, I was that good? I can't believe that." You know.
I'm going to keep bugging you. I'm going to keep bugging you about those.
Yeah, keep bugging me about it, and I'll tell you to go fuck yourself. So. Yeah. Anyway, there's the theme song. Boy, this went by nicely tonight. God, not a problem at all. And I'm inoculated, and Alan's inoculated, and soon you're getting yours, right, Jeff? When?
On February 3rd.
February 3rd, and Charlie's
It's
getting
tomorrow.
his tomorrow.
Tomorrow, yeah.
And when are you supposed to get yours, Kevin? Do you know?
No, they haven't called me.
They haven't called you yet. How about you, Josh? Have you put in for him yet? No. How about you, Mark?
Yeah.
Okay, he's in Florida. That laugh is a Florida laugh. Anyway,
They're all the old people.
that's it for tonight. That's it for the week. Hey, everybody, thank you so much to Jeff and to Alan and to Brian and to Charlie and to Josh and to Kevin and to Trucker Steve and to John Larkin and, of course, Mark. Call more often. You know, the coast is clear. It's really nice. It's a nice bunch of people. Anyway, give yourself a big round of wave, big wave goodbye, and I'll wave goodbye as well. Okay, there we go. There they. Oh, wait a minute. That's the Zoom panel. Okay, there we go. All right, I pushed the wrong button. Anyway, thanks to all of them, and thanks to you for joining us tonight. Jack Bishop is next with The Intersection. You call him on Skype, okay? At Gabnet Live is the address to call on Skype. We'll be back again on Monday at 4 o'clock in the afternoon with our pop-up show, and then right back here at 10:30 in the evening on Tuesday night. Same time, same station in life. In the meantime, if you see her, tell her I love her. And by the way, okay, be safe out there and wear a mask. Night, everybody. Have a nice weekend.